Okay, this week we're going to be working on Chapter 4 for Microsoft Excel. As with previous chapters and previous assignments, to get to Chapter 4's assignments, you go into your Blackboard, click on SimNet, McGraw-Hill Campus, SimNet SimGrader. And go to Excel Chapter 4 group. And we'll be working on the guided project 4-3. Remember, you have the 3 steps. The first step is download files. The second step is to save files. And the third step is to submit file for grading. Unlike the previous 3 assignments, there's a new file that we need to make sure that we download to complete this assignment. It's called the resource file. So remember, the only files you really need to download are any files that say required. So resource, you see it says required here. So we will need to download that to complete this assignment correctly. To do that, we'll click on all Office versions, and it's going to download to my PC. It's this PC and downloads folder. I'm going to also download the start file, that's required, all Office versions. And then I'm also going to download my instructions file, which is also required. Because I'm using a Microsoft Windows computer, I'm going to download the Office for Windows 2003 or 2016. If you have a MacBook or an Apple product, you would use Office for Mac 2016. So again, my files get downloaded into this PC, downloads, and you see you have a new folder here that says resources for guided project 4-3. If you notice, this little folder has a zipper icon on it. That means that the file is compressed or it's zipped. So we're going to have to unzip it to use the files. Also, if you look over in the type column, you see compressed zip folder. That also lets me know that it needs to be extracted or uncompressed. Another thing, if you look at the top, it says compress folder tools. Extract. That only occurs when you have a compressed or a zip file or folder selected. If I click on the instructions file for guided project 4-3, this menu is going to disappear. So you see I click off of it, that menu disappears. Once I click on the folder again, you see it says compress folder tools. I'm going to extract it, click on extract, then extract all. It's very important that you know where you're going to extract the file to. I'm going to extract it just to the C downloads folder. I'm going to extract. Alright, I'm going to sort by name so you can see. I want you to see the difference between the 2 files. So you have this file folder, which is the file folder that has the resource files that you need, but then you also have this compressed folder that you extract it from. So just keep in mind, make sure you look at the icon for the resource file. The one that's zipped or has a zipper on it, that means that it's compressed and that the files are zipped inside of that folder. Also, when you click on it, it brings up this menu option, compress folder tools, extract. Now, this does not have the zipper on it. This is the actual file folder that you'll need for the assignment. When you double click on it, you see that you have 2 files included in there. Those 2 files will be used for this assignment. Okay, I'm going to sort by date modified again so I can get my files open. I'm going to open the instructions file, and I'm going to enable the highlighter so that once I complete each step, I can highlight when the step's complete. And then I'm also going to open up my start file, and I'm going to set it up so that it's side by side. And we're going to minimize File Explorer. Alright, step 1 says open the Clemenson Imaging 04 start file. It says click the Enable Editing button. The file will be renamed automatically to include your name. So it is in protected view. We see that up here. It says protected view. We want to take it out of protected view. To take it out of protected view, you want to click on the Enable Editing. So that takes care of the first step. Alright, so I'm going to highlight that. Step 2 says copy the past and projected sheet before the criteria sheet, and name the copy sheet ADV filter. Alright, to do that, we're going to click on our past and projected worksheet. We're going to click on Move or Copy. It's very important that you click on Create a Copy, and it says put it right before the criteria. So we're going to click OK. So this is the new sheet that was created, so we're going to move that over right in front of criteria. To do that, you just left click on the worksheet tab, and then you just hold down the left click until you get to where you want to move it to. So this told us to put it before the criteria worksheet. To rename it, you right mouse click on that worksheet tab and click rename, and we're going to name it ADV filter, and then we're going to hit enter. Alright, so after we complete that, we're going to highlight that. Step 3 says create and format an Excel table. It says select cells A4 to E60 on the ADV filter sheet. So I want to make sure that I'm on that sheet, and then it says select cells A4 over to E60. Then it says click the quick analysis tool, choose tables, and then it says click table. Alright, so we completed 3A, 3B, and 3C. Alright, step 4 says apply a table style. It says click cell A5 in the table. So we're going to go up to A5. We know that we're on A5 because the A is highlighted, the 5 is highlighted. Also, if you look in the name box, it says we're in A5. So that takes care of 4A. It says click, 4B says click the more button. So we need to go to table design, table styles group, and we're going to click the more button. And then it says 4C says select white table style medium 15. That's white table style medium 5. 14, 15. That takes care of 4B and 4C. And now would be a good time to save. So I'm going to do a Control S to save. Alright, so one thing to note with these instructions, you have something that says alternate select table style medium 15. This little icon, if you look at the top, this will tell you what that alternate icon means. So it tells you if this image appears when a project instruction has changed to accommodate an update to Microsoft Office 365. So we should be fine because we were able to click on the more button and the table tools design tab, and we were able to select the white table style medium. So we're going to move on to step 5. Create an output range for the advanced filter. It says select cells A4 to E4 and copy and paste them to cell G4. So I'm going to select A4, go all the way over to E4. I'm going to do a Control C, which copies, or you can right mouse click and click copy. I usually do Control C. It tells me to go over to cell G4, and it tells me to paste it here. So I can right mouse click, select paste, or I can just do a Control V, which does the same thing. So that takes care of 5A. 5B says type extract range in cell G3 and set the font to Cambria 16 point. So in G3, I know I'm in G3 because G is highlighted, 3 is highlighted. Also, I'm looking in the name box, and that says G3. It says type extract range, and we need to set this to Cambria, and it says 16 point. And then it says 5C says adjust column widths to show the labels. So an easy way to do that is to select this triangle here right in the corner right above the 1 and to the left of the A. Select it and just go between G and H, double click. That'll expand the whole worksheet so that you can see all of the information in each column or in each cell. That takes care of 5C. Now's a good time to save, so I'm going to do a Control S. I can also go to the floppy disk up here and click save, but you see it has the information about the shortcut key, Control plus S, or I can go to File, go to the back page, and save. Alright, step 6 says create an advanced filter. So it says click the criteria worksheet. In 6A, we're going to click the criteria worksheet. And it says type greater than 12/31/16 in cell A3 to find records after 2016. So I'm in cell A3. I'm going to type greater than 12/31/16. in cell, or in 6C it says type MRI in cell B3. I'm going to go to B3. I'm going to type MRI. In step 6D it says type greater than 123114 in cell A4 to find records after 2014. So I'm going to go to A4, type greater than 123114. In 6E it says type CT scan in B4. This criteria will find records dated 2017 or later for MRIs and records for CT scans after 2014. And you see there's a figure here that we can use to make sure that we have the information correct. So I'm going to type CT scan in B4, and it looks correct. All right, that'll take care of 6C. We're going to move on to 6F. It says click cell A5 on the advanced filter sheet. So now I'm going to go back to my advanced filter sheet, and I'm going to click on cell A5. Then it says click the advanced button, which is located in the data tab, sort and filter group. H says select the copy to another location radio button. 6I says verify that the list range is cells A4 to E60. If the range is incorrect, click the ranges in there. So Alright, click the criteria range box and select cells A2 on the criteria sheet. So let's go to the criteria sheet and select A2. To B4. Click the copy to box and select cells G4 to K4 on the advanced filter worksheet. G4 over to K4. And click OK. I think I want to change this one up. Alright, now's a good time to save, so I'm going to do a Control S to save. Alright, All right, so moving on to step 7. Sort data in the output range on the advanced filter sheet. So I'm going to make sure I'm on the advanced filter worksheet. I'm going to right mouse click cell H5. So let's go over to H5. I'm going to right mouse click. I'm going to choose sort, and we're going to sort A to Z. All right, 7B says right click cell G5, sort, and select oldest to newest. This sorts the results by date, earliest date first. All right, that looks good. So now is a good time to save. Control S. All right, number 8 says apply conditional formatting and borders. So I'm going to select cells I5 to I14. And I know that I'm selecting those because the I is highlighted. And if you look in the row section, you see 5 to 14 are highlighted. 8B says click the conditional formatting button, which is on the Home tab. The Styles group. It says 8C says choose highlight cells, rules, and greater than. So highlight cells, rules, greater than. It says type 750, which it's already in there. And it says choose green fill with dark green text. So I'm going to click the drop down, green fill with dark green text. So let me make sure. 8E says click OK. 8F says select cells G5 to K14 and apply borders, all borders. So we're going to go to the Home tab, Font Group, Borders, select all borders. So now that takes care of 8F. And as you can see, it says figure 491. It should look like that. If you look in this figure 491, you see you have your extract range, and you have April 2015, August 2014. You see you have your two items or two patient groups that's over 750. Those are highlighted, and it looks like the borders are here. So after that, 8G says select Control Home. So I'm going to do Control Home. That'll take me to the top. It'll take me back to A1, and that takes care of step 8. So now's a good time to save. All right. Moving on to step 9, it says import a comma separated values text file. So this is where that download resource file, or that resource file, is going to come into play. All right, it says 9A says click the expense info worksheet tab. So I'm going to go down to the expense worksheet, expense info worksheet tab. 9B says select cell A5. I'm going to go to A5. Then it says click the From Text CSV button, which is located in the Data tab. So I'm going to go to the Data tab, go to my Transfer, Get and Transfer group, and I'm going to click on From Text CSV button. Now earlier when we did the extraction of that folder, that resource folder, I told you to make a note of where you put that file at. This is where it comes into play. You need to know where that file is so you're not looking everywhere for this file. So we know, well, I know that my files are put into this PC downloads folder. So now I'm going to open up that resource file that I extracted. And I am going to select, I changed the file types from text files to all files, but you can change it back to text files. So I'm going to select the Clemenson Imaging -04 CSV file, and then I'm going to click the import button. So now it should start populating some data. All right, that takes care of 9D and 9E. 9F says in the Get Data Editor, click the load arrow and select load to. That takes care of 9F. 9G says select existing worksheet. Verify that cell A5 displays as the destination. So I'm going to select existing worksheet. A5 is selected. And it also says look at figure 492. So if you see in figure 492, it has existing worksheet selected, and A5 is also in the. All right, 9G is complete. 9H says click OK to import the data. So now I'm going to click OK. All right, so it put everything in there. It also opened up a queries and connections box. I'm going to close that for now. All right, 9I says cut and paste the labels in row 4 to replace the labels in row 5. So we're going to click everything in row 4. Now you can either do a Control X, which is cut, or you can right mouse click and select cut. I'm going to click on row 5, and I can do a Control V to paste. Or I could have done the right mouse click and selected the paste. Delete row 4 to move the table up one row. So we're going to select the row 4. We're going to right mouse click and we're going to delete. Or I can just select row 4. Well, it's not working. So I'm going to right mouse click and select row 4 and right mouse click and hit delete. That takes care of 9I. 9J says select cell A4 and click the convert to range button. So I'm going to select A4. I know I'm on A4 because A is highlighted, 4 is highlighted here. Also, if I check the name box, it says I'm in A4. I'm going to go over to the table design in the tools group, and I'm going to click convert to range. Click OK to remove the query definition. So this will permanently remove the query definition from the sheet and convert the table to a normal range. Continue. It tells me to continue by clicking OK. 9K is done. 9L says select columns A to D and size each column to 12.11 or 90 pixels. Easiest way to do that is to either right mouse click, column width, or I could have selected all of these and left mouse click, and as you see, when I hold down the left mouse click, it's telling me that it's 12.14 or 90 pixels. I can move it out, I can move it in. I just need to get it to 90 pixels. So now it's at 90 pixels, so that's good. Takes care of 9L. 9M says deselect the columns, which I did already. And that takes care of step 9. You see you have this alternate here. Again, if you go to the top of the instructions, it'll tell you what the alternate is used for or why it's there. So now is a good time to save. I'm going to do a Control S to save. All right, step 10 says use the subtotal command. So close the queries and connections pane and click cell 5. We already closed it. I'm going to click on cell A5. 10A says click the sort A to Z button, which is in the data tab, sort and filter group, sort A to Z to sort by last name. C says click the subtotal button, which is in the data tab in the outline group. Click subtotal. D says verify that last name is selected for at each change in. Last name is selected at each change in. Click the use function arrow and choose average. Use function arrow, select average. 10F says check the amount box in the add subtotal to area. That's already selected. Check amount box. Add to yep, it's already selected. 10G says click OK. I'm going to click OK. 10H says format the values in column D as currency. So I'm going to highlight column D, right mouse click, format cells. This is another way to do it. I'm going to select currency, and it says no decimal points, so 0 decimal places. And I'm going to click OK. That takes care of 10H. Now is a good time to save, so I'm going to do a Control S. All right, we're going to move on to number 11. 11 says collapse outline groups. Click the collapse symbol for Alan in row 8. So if you go down to row 8, you see you have your collapse icon. Click the collapse symbol for McAllister. All right, and it says look at figure 4-93. So as you can see, Alan is collapsed. Yep, shear. All right, that takes care of 11. 11:12 says create a pivot table. So now we're going to click on the past and projected sheet. So if you don't see it at the bottom, you have your left and right arrows that'll get you to the right worksheet. So I'm going to click on past and projected. it says select cells A4 to E60. So A4 down to E60. Click the quick analysis table tools, or click the quick analysis tool and choose tables. So click tables, point to each pivot table option to see the live preview. So as you can see, if I point to this pivot table, sum of patients by image, and you can see what it's going to look like right above. And as I go through, this is sum of total hours by image, sum of number of employees, sum of total hours, and sum of patients by image, sum of patients by number of employees and image. All right, so that was the live preview. That takes care of 12C and 12D. It says choose the option that shows a sum of the employees, the total hours, and the patients. So we're going to click on tables again. It wants me to choose sum of employees, total hours, and the patients. So that's this right here. So I'm going to select that. It creates a new table called Sheet 2. So we're going to rename that. To rename it, you can double click on the name of the worksheet and it allows you to edit it, or you can right mouse click on the worksheet and select rename. Whichever one you want to use is fine, just as long as you rename it Pivot Table. So that takes care of 12E and 12F. 12G says drag the month field in the rows area in the pivot table fields pane out of the pane and into the worksheet. All right, so moving on to number 13, it says format a pivot table. So we're going to click on cell C4. So I'm in C3 now, so I need to click on C4. No, I'm in C4 because C is highlighted in the columns and 4 is highlighted in the rows. Also, if you look in the name box, it says C4. It says click the field settings button, which is located in the pivot table tools analyze tab in the active fields group, and select field settings. (13C) says click number format. (13D) says choose number as the category. 13E says select the use 1000 separator box and set 0 decimal places. Says click OK to close each dialog box. 13G says apply the same number format for the sum of patients field. (13H) says click the More button, Pivot Table Tools Design tab, Pivot Table Styles group, and then it says select dark gray Pivot Style Dark 9. this? Oh, dark gray. Pivot style, dark 9. That takes care of 13H and 13I. 13J says select the banded rows box, which is in PivotTable Tools Design tab. PivotTable Style Options. I'm going to select banded columns, or excuse me, banded rows, and then banded columns. So those two need to be selected. So that takes care of 13J and 13K. Now is a good time to save, so I'm going to do a Control S. All right, moving on to 14, it says create and format a pivot chart. So it says click the pivot chart. All right, so I'm going to go to the PivotTable Tools Analyze tab. Tools group. I'm going to click Pivot Chart. Select bar as the chart type and stacked bars as the subtype. So I'm going to select bar. And as I hover over the different charts, it says select stacked bar. So I'm going to select that. 14C says click OK. All right, and it put the chart there. 14D says position the chart object so that its top left corner is at cell A12. So I want the top left to be at A12. So let's position. 14E says drag the bottom right selection handle to reach J30. So that's this. Go down to 30, go over to J. Click the More button. We're going to go to the Pivot Chart Tools Design tab, Chart Styles group. And choose Style 8. There's Style 8. 14G says click the Change Colors button. So that's in the Pivot Chart Tools Design tab. Chart Styles group. Change color. And it says select monochromatic palette 1 blue - gray gradient dark to light. So it's somewhere in here. Palette. Let's see if it's this one. Oh, that is the one. Palette 1. Yeah, that's it. All right, again, we have this alternate here. Read at the top of the instructions to see why the alternate is there. All right, it says deselect the number of employees in the chart, in the pivot chart fields panel. All right, it says click cell A1. All right, Now is a good time to save, so I'm going to do a Control S. All right, moving on to 15, it says export data using the clipboard. So we're going to click the Advanced Filter Sheet tab. We're going to select cells G4 to K14. And I know that I'm selecting G4 to K14 because G is highlighted all the way over to K, and 4, the row 4 is highlighted down to row 14. It says select those G4 to K14 and click the copy button, which is located on the Home tab. In the clipboard group, so let's click that. Open the Clemenson Imaging-04 Word document downloaded from the resources link. So now we're going to open that resource folder. Mine is located in this PC downloads, EX 2016 Guided Project 4-3-resource. And we're going to open this up, the Word document. We're going to enable editing. It says click Control N to position the insertion point. So I'm going to hit the Control key and click the arrow with the paste button. That's at the Home tab. Clipboard group. Click the arrow and I'm going to paste special. 15F says select Microsoft Excel worksheet object in the paste special dialog. G says select the paste link radio button in the paste special dialog box and click OK. And then it says click OK. So now it put the spreadsheet that I copied from Excel, it puts it in a Microsoft Word document. That takes care of 15G. Important, if you receive an error message similar to Excel cannot obtain the data, make sure that you have extracted. Again, you have to make sure that you extract that file or that folder from the zip folder. All right. 15G says click the center button, which is on the Home tab in the paragraph group. Home tab, paragraph group, center ribbon. That'll center the table. 15I says save the Word document as your initials. Excel 4-3 in your usual folder. You will not be uploading this file to Simnet. So to save it, I'm going to go File. Instead of Save, I'm going to click Save As. And it told me to use my initials. SM space Excel 4-3. Right, and I want to make sure it's saving. Yeah, I'll put it there. That's fine. All right. After that, it says close Word. Save and close my Excel worksheet. So I'm going to save. I'm going to close that. And then I just upload the file to Simnet to have it graded. All right, has been uploaded to SimNet. Looks like we did all the steps correctly.